Hey, everybody, welcome to Gardens, the Untold Story. Today we're talking agroforestry, and I think that Andy's been sleeping with the trees too much this week. He's just relaxed in that mellow, everything is just beautiful in the forest kind of mood. So how you feeling, Andy?
I hate forest.
Can't see the trees for the forest?
Can't see the trees for the forest. So I like that name, agroforestry. You know, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because not that many people are really practicing. They just cut things down.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
I think is funny too, the agroforest is supposed to be a proper care of taking care of trees. And
Yeah.
oh, hi Ron, hi, how you doing? I think I could join the chat, right? Let me click on it. There it is. No,
I brought it up, but you saw it before I saw it. So, but then I
so
was on the banners page. You don't have
from
that.
from my point of view, see what's happening is that the last 100 years, easily the last 100 years, we have done more damage to the world's forest than thousands and thousands of years. I mean, in Europe, they had the medieval period, right? And they really
Right.
pretty much cleared the forest in Europe, except for the Germany. They had the Black Forest. The Germans said, "Don't come here! Don't touch this forest!" You know, and they're trying to bring it back again. But when you have a tree that's like 100 years old, it's kind of hard to bring it back. I think it's funny. They cut a tree down that's 100 years old, and say we planted a new tree. Oh, that makes a difference. That's really good. You know what?
Well, at least it's something. It's better than nothing. But
Yeah,
go
but they
on.
shouldn't. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do it because that 100-year-old tree was taking in a massive amounts of carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen. That little tree is not going to do anywhere near. You can have 100 or 1,000 of them that won't do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially now with the climate change the way it is, that little tree won't stand a chance.
No.
And we talked last. I was going to say last year, but we last show we talked about roots in the ground. And if you look
Mm-hmm.
back here, you're going to see
Yeah.
you can't count the number of roots. You literally cannot count. You go through, try to count how many roots are in the ground. And that's what's so cool about forest, because the forest
Mm-hmm.
it's its own little ecosystem for the biology. When you think about it, if you look at it sideways, like a Superman, he slices the earth and he sees their root systems and all that stuff. The mycorrhiza is incredible, and the network of the biology is
Mm-hmm.
is incredible, and you can literally um, everything. Think about it. Everything that has evolved. Let's see. Hi Ron, what's going on? Hi Cheer Ron. It's chat. Is chat working? I think so.
Yeah. I think chat's working but he's the only one chatting right now. So yeah. We'll have to wait for more people to come on. We've got 3 people watching us live right now, and we'll wait as more slowly come on.
My chat doesn't seem to want to. I don't know. Oh, where do I? Because it says connected to comment, and I'm connected. Connect to
Yeah.
your user, join the love. So it says connect, but it's not. Okay, wait a second. I think something happened. I'm really not sure what happened. Oh my god, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
You don't know
No,
what you
no, no,
did,
no,
Andy.
no,
There's
no. I
more
don't know.
more roots in the computer than in the forest, I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I try. I have it. I have it set up here because remember you had told me to go. I can go ahead and connect it. And so I'm still having the same really stupid idiot problem in the sense that uh, I have several different emails, and YouTube seems to want to keep going to the wrong email.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. Now I got it, and so I have to constantly tell YouTube no. And I wish there was a way I could talk to Google and tell them, look, I got this. I got 3 emails up there. Every time I hire somebody to do something for me, they create a new channel with a really weird email. But I'm on there now. I just have to. I told you that I did a organic data bank. That was when I did the bulletin board system. That predates. That's like 20, 30 years ago. And so I've had that email, and that's the one when I started YouTube with. And that's the one I started Facebook with and all these things, try to move him over. But anyway, that's another story. At least I can say hi. Let me say hi. And I'm not very good at multitasking, so it's lucky if I can. I have to say hi. See, right? You can see me there now. That's cool to see, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Hi, Mather. How you doing? Peace out, man.
I'm here. So, what I find interesting is that the biology, along with the insects, all the different, by insects, I mean all the living insects in this forest, right? The trees, birds, even animals have evolved in this little biology system here.
Yeah, yeah. And they can't exist without it, just like we can.
Exactly. So, and it's the same. So a forest is something that's really like ancient, right? You know, you don't have an ancient forest of citrus trees or an ancient forest of avocado trees or any of the things like where we have it in homeowners now. You don't have a homeowner of all these different kinds of trees. A forest is usually an ecosystem of one particular type of trees that have evolved, co-evolved. Everybody has co-evolved together in that one spot, right? Over and over and over again. You go to any part of the world, you're going to find a different forest, a slightly different ecosystem.
And so slightly different plants and biology that interact with each other because they're all supporting each other.
Exactly right. And they have an excellent, I wrote a column on how trees communicate. And trees communicate, interestingly enough, in a variety of different ways. They wave at each other. Hey, you know? You ever see a branch waving? They wave, at each other, and the other one's waving back, I believe there's a visual that they see each other, right?
On an energetic, I would believe so. Because everything is energy.
So if you speak in energetic wise, you have a group aura that's totally amazing. When you go sit in the forest, you can actually are part of that system. Imagine a long time ago, people who were living in the forest and they lived there for centuries, right? All that, they're there. Kids are born there. They die there. They don't go traveling around the world. They're basically living there. And trees do dance.
Yeah,
trees do dances. Trees are. So it's all part of this living thing. Part of the thing that's interesting is that the pest, I hate to call them pests, the insects have evolved to when they get a trigger. It's a trigger signal that the trees send, I'm done.
Yeah, come and eat me. Put me back into the soil system for my daughters so they can
exactly right. And so I think that's really interesting because when I talked a little bit of a refractometer.
Yeah, and that's something that Super NASA should be using on those pears that he's going to jar up today.
Oh yeah, send me some, man. I like to get some of those pears.
And I want one of the cold cellars. As long as I don't have to be the one filling it up. Because,
go down there and get it, right?
Well, when I was growing up, we had, the cellar, and you canned every fall, and you had, you didn't go to the grocery store to buy a lot of stuff. You went down into your basement and, you grabbed a jar of this and a jar of that. And, you had a wonderful supper.
So it's interesting too, because when I first started making my super seaweed, I actually had a cold cellar that I would keep my liquids in to slow down the reactions that they have.
The biological reactions.
To slow it down a little bit, right? And so I love doing that because what's interesting too is that in nature, when it gets cold, the biology slows down.
Yeah.
It doesn't die. It's just you go. I think I read somewhere where they found they were drilling down in Antarctic, and they went and they hit some what they call the soil really, really down deep. And these things were really super ancient. They were literally thousands and thousands of years old, and they recovered and they woke right up again.
Well, that biology that exists 10,000 feet down, and I reference the same study I think that you've seen. And the biology is the same as what it is on the surface of the planet, but its lifespan is in geological time. not like its cousin on the surface of the earth now lives for several weeks. Down there, it was hundreds of thousands of years that biology would have a full life cycle and reproduce itself. But
Oh,
they
that's
put
interesting.
biology on the space station and let it freeze for, I think it was 6 months, and then brought it back into the space station, reinvigorated the biology just by raising the heat, and just the outer shell was dead. The inner stuff had went to sleep or insist, and it woke back up and went back to work.
I also think it's interesting too that they went to there was another. What happened? One of the things happened was they were drilling and they encountered
Yeah.
underground lake that had never seen the
Yes.
light of day, and the biology down there was totally different species that they never heard of before,
Yeah.
never seen before,
And
they
they
were
were
afraid.
worried about contaminating it
Exactly,
too, which,
bringing it up to the
you know,
surface. Exactly
yeah.
what would happen, right? And so, to me, I find that all really, really interesting, and I apply it to specifically to the homeowner. So
Mm-hmm.
remember I told you before that a homeowner's property may have like 20 or 30 different varieties of plants from around the world that lived in
Yeah.
their own separate ecosystem that are now
Yeah.
in this ecosystem all combined.
Yeah.
To me, that's part of the reason why the biology is having a rough time with these homeowners, because they are not, it's not that they're not compatible, but it takes time for them to form a union, to work
Yeah.
together. And so when I do the spraying, I try to get biologies, a wide range of biology, and hopefully some of that will stick to that soil and that particular type of plants. Oops, I was wondering who Ken was talking to. Oops, I was wondering, who were you talking to, Ken?
Well, see, Silly Lily's upstairs, and she obviously was going, "Oh, I'm late for the show. I missed the time." She was watching a ghost show, I'm sure of it, something like that.
So it's and to take it a little bit step further, and I try to tell people that when and this, like, I was just yesterday talking to a customer who says, I have this tree has oh yeah, wait, this morning, even as late as this morning today, I was talking to a customer who says that those plants have whiteflies, right? The whiteflies are
Yeah.
attacking it.
Yeah.
And that's another interesting too. Don't remind me. I want to talk about how insects have evolved really rapidly to encounter
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff, right? But so I tell people, whenever a bug is eating a plant, it's food for the plant, and not something's wrong.
Yes.
As
The
simple as
plant's
that.
not healthy.
Right. If it's food for the bug, it's not, like, especially with vegetables and stuff like that. If it's food for the bug, the pest, it's not food for us.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
it's missing a trace, and it's always comes down to a trace minerals.
Mm-hmm.
It always comes down to a trace mineral deficiency. Anybody follow Boney? He was Boney Yard, Alaska.
Yeah, Boneyard Alaska is some pretty sweet mushrooms popping out of the permafrost they mine, stuff that's been asleep a few thousand years as they go
I
down
haven't
deeper.
seen that, but that's pretty. Have they? By sweet, you mean they eaten it? Because I wouldn't be eating that stuff to test it, and that's another story too. Because anyway, so remind me to talk about that one in a second. Write it down in the notes. Say any talk about
Oh,
that, because that's another thing too. So and so it's in a homeowner, in a property and a home, you have 20 different plants, say 20 different
yeah,
varieties. You have a
yeah.
palm tree that's never been there before in his life, and hibiscus is from some other part of the world. And so I try to accommodate a wide range of biologies for those areas. And I found some really cool biology that can handle all the different range, but that's what I try to find. I want something that works really good for all of them,
Yeah.
as opposed to genetically being tuned into one. But what I find is interesting too is that the plants have to, and see, they don't have much time to evolve into a new biology system, do they? Because if you have a
Not
tree,
really.
he ate part of the woolly mammoth that was
Well
well preserved. He
preserved.
said that I don't know if they ate the mushrooms. Oh, they ate the part of the woolly mammoth. that's interesting. That's interesting too. It comes down to the inability of the plant to basically has to come up with whole new genetics, whole new biology, whole new root systems. The biology on the root systems are normally evolved for certain biology on the root hairs of that tree.
Yeah.
You take a tree, you plant it as an environment, they're not going to have the same biology. The biology is going to look at the tree and go, "What the heck are you? Who are you? What do you want?"
And the biology that's on that tree or on those roots is going to be looking back, going, where are we now, man? I don't recognize anybody.
Exactly. But we had talked a little bit last time of how they can evolve really fast and merge two different biologies into one. And I think that's really fascinating because they have said, look, normally it takes a few thousand years for us to get this together. So we're going to do it maybe within a decade and do it.
Or
and that's
less.
incredible too.
You're talking about the horizontal gene transfer,
right.
where the biology can learn from each other to coexist.
And I think that's a recent thing. I mean, even though you would think that it's been going on forever, but if you look at the way it works, it's like, everybody tends to stay together in a certain environment. They don't commingle too much, other than when humans start to commingle. And humans haven't really been doing this for maybe 100 years, right? I mean, in 1,000 years, they never really did that anyway. They just cut forests down, did housing, and but now,
1,000 years ago, can you think of a fruit tree from, say, Peru being moved up to England? It would have to go on a sailing ship. Would it survive the journey? So it's only been where we've had more rapid transport. We could get these plants from other parts of the world and bring them into ours. Other than that, some of the scientists had, the garden in England from all over the world, but very, very tough to do.
And also too, the other thing is that normally in nature, these things could happen. The wind could blow a seed thousands of miles away, and it would land. It would go, "What the heck am I doing here?" And the seed would somehow evolve, survive. If the seed was genetically able to survive, then as a tree grows, that's one reason why I tell people, look, if you think of vegetables from all over the world, right? Every part of the world, these vegetables are. So you plant something in your garden that has a mixture of all these different vegetables and different biologies in there, and so you have to learn how to understand how the bugs. So the bugs will. I don't think they follow. You have a lettuce is from India and it's growing in my home in Mallow. There's a bug. It's there, and it's not saying, "Well, you're from India. I'm going to eat you anyway. I'm going to go through you." So that the lettuce has to evolve really super fast to survive. So what works really good is that what I tell people is grow something, take the seeds from that plant that grew there, and grow that one again. Every time you do that, you're increasing the biology of the plant's ability to live there.
Right?
And one of the things I learned too is when I used to have when I did my own garden, I had raised beds. So like an idiot, I would take everything out, all the soil out, and put new soil in.
You did what?
Yeah.
Andy?
So,
smack. You're not supposed to do that. Well, I know. I did it too. I learned better ways though.
Great. So I've learned to no, you keep it in there. And you allow the biology to evolve in that container, in that raised bed, and it works a lot better than if you take the soil out, recompose it, put new soil back in again, and it's like it inhibits the ability of the plants to properly evolve. I think that's really cool. Once you learn the way that Mother Nature has set it up, and you actually go with the flow, so to speak.
Yeah.
You learn how to, especially when somebody calls me and says I have a bug problem, and so I've learned to. There's certain the liquids that I make are a mineral biology. They're microbiology active. They're biology active and minerally active. So I try to have a wide range, and so I spray that on the bugs. I've learned that the
Yeah.
biology they go after the bugs. The bugs say, I can't handle this. And at the same time, I've learned that through foliar feeding, that's what's so cool about foliar applications.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that you are feeding the plant, and at the same time you're helping you have to do something to the soil to help the root systems come back to work right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when people have trees and stuff like that, they're in the ground. I spray the trees because I want them to do it's a triage. Here's some food, and the tree will go, what the heck? What? Wait. Okay, so they'll eat a little bit of it, and it takes a while for that to go through the system of the body of the tree of the plant to then produce the proper root systems or the branches or flowers or wherever it needs. It takes a little while, but through foliar feeding, it bypasses the root system. If you keep doing that and you don't do anything to the soil, the plant will die anyway.
Yeah, it's just going to get weak underneath, and
it will get weak. And it's as if you intravenous injected your food into your veins. You're going to die anyway because you're not eating through your stomach.
Yeah.
Right. And that's and to me that's what has been missing in the chemical world. When you use fertilizers, you put that in the ground and you they spray chemicals. Very rarely I see chemical people actually spraying chemical fertilizers on plants and stuff. And if they do, it's a totally strange mixture that the plant high nitrogen is really very, very bad for the biology. You don't find that in nature.
No. But then they're not concerned with the biology. They're concerned with force feeding the plant these nutrients and forcing the biology to only use those to build the plant. Exactly
right. And usually what happens is that they do not even understand that you need so many different trace minerals, and they only provide maybe a handful. There are some ones that are a little better. They have maybe 5 or 6 of them, 7 of them.
Yep.
You know how they have the 3 letters, the 3 numbers.
NPK,
right?
Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's all you ever need. Now they're up to almost the whole periodic table.
There are some of them that may have a little iron. Some of them may have a little copper in it. Some of them may have a little calcium in it, and that's about it. And then they say, well, it's normal for the plant to get the disease and spray this chemical.
Yeah, and it's not at all normal.
No, and chemical fertilizers, aside from killing the biology, actually kill the plant, and it's a slow process. It's like a drug. Like I call it cocaine for the soil. You keep taking cocaine, it's going to kill you because it destroys your biology. It simply destroys the human biology. And I've heard about, there was on TV the cocaine bear. It was a bear who snorted a whole bunch of cocaine and it just went crazy. So the biology is the same for animals and stuff. And I don't think birds or insects will get off on cocaine. I don't think they even, because they may encounter it, maybe it affects them too. But the point is that we have gotten so far off the mark in terms of, and it's the same thing with the human body, because if you eat the proper kind of foods, you eat the trace minerals, you eat things you're supposed to be eating. A lot of stuff that people are eating are not even food. So your body goes, what the heck is that?
Yeah. Well, and like Silly Lily is saying here, it's the same in the greenhouses. In the nurseries, they're force feeding those plants to make them look so good. By the time you get them home, unless you're going to continue, feeding them those chemicals, half of them die because they can't, adjust to being in a soil system.
So Silly, should I say Silly or Lily?
Oh, you can just either or.
So she said they look healthy. When they look healthy, they don't really look healthy. Okay, so one of the things that I encountered a long time ago, because I've been playing with a refractometer for a long time, is the ability to. So they have these glasses that I was talking about that you can wear. They're like blue blockers or they're blockers, right? If you looked at them, you'll see clearly what's going on with the plant. It'll show up how and the high. It's not natural in nature to have that high green look. What's natural is a bluish green look. It has a bluish green aura instead of green. right? Instead of bright. So whenever you see something that's really bright, super green, and the high nitrogen and a few other things that they add to it does make the plant go very, very fast. It rapidly grows very fast. But if you was a plant psychologist, you're talking to the plant.
It's got ADHD plus 20.
Yeah, yeah. And so they're really stressed out.
Yeah.
The higher the stress, the greater the pest.
Yeah.
Right? I made that up because that's the way it is. When I look at plants, and if I see something really super stressed out, I have to say, okay, let me give you something that will relax you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not another more fertilizers. It's not more. It's the same thing with diseases. I love this. These. I have to try that little experiment. Oh yeah. Okay. What experiment? What did I say? An experiment? The blue box. So they have these lenses now you can buy from NASA. It says NASA on it, and they also have selling for arborists now. You can buy these lenses. That I should have copyrighted because basically you look at a tree with the lenses on, you can see where the normally I don't know what it's called, but it's basically the term describes when you feed it something and how the plant distributes the food throughout the plant.
Okay.
Right? And there's a name for it if it only distributes to one part of the plant and not to the other part. There's a problem, but there's a name for it that they give it when it's not getting the food spread
lockout.
out.
We call it a lockout.
A lockout. It's not getting to the other part of the plant. Yeah. And you can literally see it. And so
okay, you got to tell us more about or give me a link to those glasses because I'm very interested.
Cool.
In those glasses because if you can put them on and see where the flow of the nutrients isn't going, I think that's one hell of a tool.
It really is, and you can't use a refractometer for that because what you would have to do in terms of using a refractometer, when I measure a leaf, I learned the hard way. Mm-hmm. I measured a leaf of a citrus, right? It had a certain Brix level. I measured another part of the leaf had an entirely different Brix level. I said, So why does that have two different Brix levels? It's obvious that the plant's not getting the same amount of food as the other part is.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But it's so cool that you can actually see it. And I stopped using the glasses because I can actually see. I don't know if I ever mentioned anything, but I could see the difference. But when you wear glasses, you show it to people. Look, and they go, "Well, why is that funny yellow?" Because you'll see it. You can actually see a yellow vein flowing through a yellow part of a leaf. You look at it normally, you'll say, "Well, that's bright, dark green." But you look at it through the glasses, it's actually yellowish in colors. That means it's not getting the nutrients it needs. And that the glasses work on the same principle as the refractometer. It refracts the minerals.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Well, and the sugars and the complex sugars, because the bugs don't like the complex sugars either. But then when the plant has the complex sugars, it's healthier. And that kind of leads into what JP and N is asking here. Is anyone removing or remediating plant viruses or damage from synthetic pesticides through living soil? And yes, you can make a plant healthy using living soils, etc. Now, if you're talking about something like the hop slate and viroid, that's something totally different. And we don't know if we're going to be able to beat that virus through living soil or not. But I know there's a lot of ongoing experiments in all of that kind of stuff right now.
I learned, so one of the things I learned concerning that is that I learned that I could, a couple of things. One is that if a person calls me up and says and I find out that it has most of the time the trees, for example, there's a palm that has and I've forgotten the name of it, but basically is a disease that inhibits, most of the diseases inhibits the plant's ability to absorb nutrients, right? Okay. And all diseases are soil-borne. They're in the soil. And there's a reason for that, because a healthy soil will not only inhibit, but totally stop it from becoming alive and functioning and doing its thing. And so when that happens, you have to reintroduce the biology back again. So the way I do the biology and what I learned from experience is two things. One, when you make compost, and if you know there's a problem on your property somewhere, then you actually finish the compost process in the soil. So it inoculates the soil rather than make the compost and go through the whole process and then put it in the soil. There's a big difference. I also learned that different types of animal manure can be used if you know how to do that, because in essence, what I do is I make a manure tea.
Yeah.
And I spray it and I inject it into the soil and spray it on the plants as well. But I've learned from experience that the manure tea works a lot better if I add the minerals to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I use mineral. I was watching Elaine Ingram's conference that she has, on there. Really cool information. And one of the things that I like to tell everybody is that, see, it doesn't do any good to just throw rock dust in the soil. And technically speaking, the soil already has rocks, right? It's full of rocks everywhere. And the rocks, the biology can eat the rocks, and there's your minerals.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that and so it's just if you get the biology, go after the rocks, and the minerals will come up. The only thing I have to say about that, and it's true, but I also feel there's a trace mineral deficiency because Mother Earth has not been enhancing it as like normally does with all the trace minerals circulating around the world and making sure everybody's got all the trace minerals. So that's what remineralization is all about in terms of reintroduce. That's why I like using rock dust, and I use it from various different parts of the world, 14 different kinds of rock dust, a wide range of trace minerals. And I added what I do, and I was just today, I was telling this guy today, what does it say? Produce clean flour, but I can't read it. Bring that one up.
It actually starts up here. Can you remove a systemic pesticide, like if the gene material has been compromised? Can you use living soil to eventually produce clean concentrates? Now, we're not talking so much about cannabis, guys. There's so much you can do there. But for remediating soil, the cannabis plant, the hemp plant can clean a lot of the bad stuff out of the soil, so it wouldn't be in the soil for your plant to take up. But remember, composting, and that's we were talking about terroir and taking the seed, planting it back in that same soil. Your plant is going to eventually function better in that soil system and break down those components. But that's the job of the biology, to break them down to the atomic level. That's where composting is so important. So if you're asking it in that way, I would agree that yes, you can do that with a living soil.
Yes, you can. You can even do it with radiation. Radioactively, soil can be brought back to life.
Remediated,
There are bacteria that will eat the soil. There's bacteria that will do anything, eat plastic.
Mm-hmm.
You should say, but they're not normally found in a common soil environment. You have to learn how to grow them, how to introduce them to the property, and that's the key. You're going to find that there's so many different kinds of biologies, and once you key into the ones that work for the specific, because they're genetically evolved. There's a bunch of there's a biology over in Hawaii. There's a underground lava thing that's coming up, right? It's like thousands and thousands of degrees. They found biology that grown there.
Yep.
They actually, the biology lives and survives there in that environment.
Yeah.
And so and so they also did Chernobyl. They found that the things are recovering really fast. Why is it? Is the animals are so normally thousands of years for radiation to decompose, but these biologies are breaking them down faster than normal. Same thing with plastic. There's biology that will go after plastic.
Well, you look at Leighton Morrison and how he remediated his yard from glyphosate simply by having a buddy of his ship him a bunch of plants that were growing beside a field of glyphosate. He stripped the biology out of that, grew it out, put it on his yard, and that biologist ate up that glyphosate like it was nothing. That was its food source.
Exactly. I'm really happy that I ran into Leighton, because like I told Leighton, I've been doing this by myself for so long. I found somebody else. Yeah. And then he turned me on to you guys, and now there's a whole bunch of people doing this, which is absolutely wonderful. The more the better. And we have to, we really have to fight the powers that be, because they don't really like that. They don't like the idea that, gee, you know, maybe this stuff we've been doing is really bad for the soil or for people. I think but it's really good for money, right? It's really good.
Yeah, they're making lots of money off of us.
It's really good. It's really good for money to buy this chemical, because you have to keep buying it over again. You know, there's no way that you can really solve your problem. It's not meant to solve your problem. It's just meant to make you feel good at the moment. You know, think, oh, I solved the problem, you know, but it's not, because it comes right back. And they tell you it's normal. You have to continue to spray this. Imagine a doctor, you go to a doctor and say, doctor, I've been eating this toxic food for a while. What can I do? Oh, take this pill and you'll be fine. Keep eating the toxic food. No problem. That's pretty much what happens. You know, they don't say anything. They don't really say, well, what are you eating? Maybe you should stop eating that. Maybe you should do a little bit different. Beer, you know, beer's got 72 different chemicals in it.
Mm-hmm.
A foaming agent, anti-foaming agent, a yellowing agent, anti-yellowing agent. You know, cigarettes. It's not the tobacco that's toxic. It's the Native American Indians that didn't know about cancer until recently. Until we developed, it's the chemicals in the tobacco.
The chemicals they spray on it, and the chemicals they put in the filters.
And the filter, right? In the filter,
and the paper, and everything.
Paper. Exactly right. And so it's really gotta save the soil, right? It's really a very weird. We've gotten into this place where we're really not. I mean, you know, a doctor's job is to do the best he can to keep you healthy, not do the best he can to keep you coming back to pay him. Well, this one doctor told me, I want you to come in my office twice a week, schedule it for down the road, because you're going to be needing to get this injection on a regular basis. And I go, really? I don't think so. I don't think so. No. That's idiot. They wanted me to take a tetanus shot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't take the tetanus shot, and I survived it. I was fine. I really don't like taking shots, because they don't really work that way. Same thing with the various things that are going on now in the world. The idea may be okay in the beginning, but the reality of it is it ruins your biology. When I was a kid, I protested against taking the measles shot and all these other different shots. And my mom says, well, you get older, you're going to get sick. I go, no, I'm not, because my biology inside my body, my immune system, it's so strong that it's just, I'd rather get sick and recover from it than to take a chemical that prevents me from getting sick, but I will get sick down the road, and then it won't. I mean, a simple cold can wipe out half the population on the planet. Yeah, simple cold can, and it's the same thing. So the plant can, you know, what are they? Okay, so doctors and agricultural people, they mirror each other. It's as if they're the same companies that are running it, right? Because, you know, the people who are selling you, the doctors understand that if you eat good food, you'll be healthy, you never see them again. And so they deliberately grow the food that way so you can eat it. Mm-hmm. It's done deliberately, like when they put I love the genetically modified organisms. I think that's really. I started talking about genetically modified organisms in the 80s. I'm going, they're coming for your food. They're coming, and people will say, this guy is crazy. And I had a guy on who was saying that they knew that their logic is, okay, it's in the genes. Roundup is in the genes. It won't bother you. It won't hurt you to eat it. There's no way can it affect you. Right. And
then a few years later, they went, oh, well, maybe we're wrong.
No, they've never said that. They have never said, oh, we're wrong. They contacted other companies, said, hey, we're getting. So they went to court, and the judge, the lawyer said, okay, there's nothing wrong with genetically modified food. You've been doing it naturally for centuries. You go tomato, you like that. You go that particular one over and over again. Yeah, you're modifying it. Every food on the market now has been genetically modified by a gardener one way or another. So that's totally safe. So they forgot to tell you that it's breaking up into 3 different parts, because you have genetically modified food the way we do it, but then you also have genetically modified food where you take a gene of a cow or a pig or whatever and put it in. Mother Nature doesn't do that for a reason. And then you have genetically modified food that you expose it to radiation. They wanted to tell people it's totally natural. Radiation is totally natural. So This is how we can kill the diseases and stuff. Expose your meat, expose your food to radiation, and you're good. And it's the same. And so it's all it has to do with what the reality of that is. We have nuclear power plants. What we're going to do with nuclear waste? Let's make it so that we'll sell it to these companies who will then produce radiations for the food to go through.
Well, I know they're doing that to a lot of the cannabis that's out there, especially the big commercial grows.
What?
Yeah, so that they get rid of any microbiology on it, so they can pass their tests. And because there's a biological component there as well for molds and stuff like that. So the fungus has got to be gone. Oh, was that a black pussycat I saw? Oh no, isn't that?
Hi, everybody! I'm here. Help me!
Well, yeah, the way you're holding him up like that, with his legs out. Yeah, I think he needs some help.
Are you serious? Are they really doing that to
yes.
cannabis?
I'm serious. Yeah, that's a big thing in Canada.
In Canada, and it's like, so they don't get it. First of all, it's a medicine. So you're polluting.
They don't care. They just care about the money and passing the test so that they can sell it into.
How can you make that legal? How can you be legal there like that?
Well, how is radiation therapy legal in anything? We know it harms things.
I don't. To me, it's like we are. See, we have the capabilities of being a perfect gardener, right? Of our bodies,
we do.
Of the soil, of our bodies, of the soil. Perfect gardener, but by perfect meaning, we follow the laws of nature. We do what's best for the whole as opposed to for the one, like the Spock would say, right? And everything would be totally healthy, totally happy, but we don't make money off of it. That's not our job to make money off of it, right? I tell people that
in Spock's day, there was no need for money because you didn't have to worry about, food. You didn't have to worry about shelter. Everything was given to you. But that's a totally different society than what we've got because they didn't care about money. It wasn't about that. It was about the species and propagating the species and helping other species. We haven't got there yet, Andy. That's coming. That's what we're hoping for.
That's one of the things I really liked about Star Trek because I felt that he was right on in the sense that that's what we have to do. I just talked to somebody yesterday, and he didn't understand. He says, "I'm in the middle. I'm in the fence. I'm in the middle about these things." And it's like I was telling him, everything that we have been doing on this planet, the bottom line is money. Look at religion. Is that about God? No, it's about money. It's about money. All the wars really comes down to about money. And Silly Lily says about typically herbs grow in your garden are radiated. So that you buy or this is that the that you
seeds.
Buy or the
a lot
seeds?
Of the seeds. Yeah.
The seeds.
Yeah.
So that's the other key to it because you do not want to go buy stuff in your local nursery. Do not want to buy any seeds or any plant. I tell people all the time, you want to buy heirloom organically grown seeds.
Yeah.
And they specifically do not radiate. They do not use chemicals. These are seeds that have been genetically grown for centuries in different parts of the world. And that's the ones you want to grow. There's a big difference. A lot of people all the time say, I said, well, where did you get these plants? I got them in the nursery. Where'd you get seeds? I bought them in the nursery. And the nursery comes, a lot of them, are coated with pesticides already, or fungicides, or herbicides, or whatever they're coated with already. And wouldn't be surprised if they are genetically radiated, because they'll say, "Well, these are not living beings. We're just going to radiate it. It's totally okay to radiate it, and we'll get rid of diseases and pests." And then, but try to grow them to any extent and be successful. You won't be able to.
Well, look at what they're doing, where the plants don't even produce seeds. Okay, like how can you actually grow that?
So that's interesting too, because what it is that they actually will produce seeds, and especially if you learn how to enhance the biology, because they found some of these. I know which ones you're talking about, and they have some people who actually were able to regenerate the ability for the plant to reproduce seeds, and who is really upset about that. Because they try to tell people these seeds, you have to buy from us these seeds over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
they want. They want, again, it comes down to the money. And there are
Yeah.
ways that you can enhance the ability of the plant to reproduce itself. Because that's
Well,
the normal way it would work. It's
yeah.
just, it's sort of like de-evolve, because they basically have genetically modified it, but they will normally return to the natural way of doing things, right?
Mm-hmm. If given the opportunity, it's a lot like the bees. In treatment-free beekeeping, we allow the bees to, make the size of comb that they want. Your commercial bees have been made to do X size, but in nature, they don't want to have them that size, and they will revert. But it does take, a generation of bees, maybe 2 to 3 years, for the size of the comb to go back down to natural from what a beekeeper would want, because he thinks he's getting more honey.
Uh, Absolutely right. Would you put up what silly Lily just said?
This one here.
Yeah, right. And that's true, but I wasn't talking about us humans, even though we concentrate on money a lot. It's just a different. I tell people, yeah, exactly right. You different choices in life, how you spend your money. Where I tell people, you can't
Yeah.
have two masters. You can't have two masters. You can either money
Yeah.
or God or whatever. I was just busy talking about the powers that be, the market system,
Yeah.
the whole thing that we have to are taught that you have to make more money, and the corporations are. It's against the law for the corporation not to make money. Did
Well,
you know
yeah,
that?
they can get charged by or end up in court from their shareholders.
Right.
For myself, and I think for you as well, Andy, and a lot of people that are on this channel and watch this channel, we're trying to make money so that we can continue doing this, so we can bring this information out, because it costs money to do what we're doing. And the more we have, the more we can actually share this information in more valuable ways, being out on the road.
It comes down to the individual, how they use
Yeah,
money.
how they use it.
I tell
Yeah.
people, there's nothing wrong with me being a wealthy monk.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to say, well, money's bad. I'm just going to use my bowl. You give me some food, I'm good. But then I could help more people. I could do better things for people if I was extremely wealthy. Here's $1 million. Live your happy life. I mean, I
Yeah.
like the millionaire where the guy come up and here's a check for $10 million. So there are lots of ways you can do good for money
Yeah.
as well. There's
Use
always
it in for good.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's always an opposite to everything. I was telling somebody the other day. She says, I want to get rid of the darkness. I want to get rid of the darkness. Well, you get rid of the darkness, you also get rid of the light. You can't have the darkness without the light. You can't have light without the darkness. That's the way it works. That's Mother Nature for you. You can decide if you want to live in the dark or live in the light.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's up to people. It goes down to consciousness. I talk to a lot of different people. They flow through me. We're talking about the right now we're about 7 degrees into the Aquarian age. Okay, so the Piscean age,
Yeah.
if you think about it, fish is in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Aquarian age, fish is flying. So in order for people to transition, they had better learn to become fishes that fly.
Yeah.
It's not money that's the problem, right? It's greed. It's what people want to do with it. I tell
Yeah.
people, when you're dead, you can't take it with you. Even though there have been lots of cases when that was in his will. Put all the money in my coffin, and somebody will go dig him up again and get rid of it. See, right? And
Well,
that's the same
yeah,
thing.
isn't that what happened in Egypt? They buried
Exactly
all
right.
these kings with all
Yeah.
these, gold, and people just want it for some reason.
Exactly right. They put it all together because you're going to get it in the afterlife. But the afterlife, they don't use money. They don't use gold. If there is an afterlife, there's nothing based upon money whatsoever. And
Yeah.
it's a problem because we have gotten so far away from living a healthy life. The plants have gotten so far away. We
Yeah.
pushed them into doing all kinds of things, that they normally would not be doing. The way we genetic modify. It's okay to grow these different food and stuff, but you have to also understand that every time you watch TV, they pump it into your brain. Buy this chemical. right? Buy this
Why do you
product.
think they call it programming, Andy?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
You
it's
get
just
programmed.
programming.
You get programmed. You get programmed,
Yeah.
and that's a big problem because it doesn't lead to anything good in the long run. And I kind of totally believe that that's a way of population control as well. Not only population control, but mental control of the people of the population.
Mm-hmm.
Like the lemmings, everybody off the cliff. You don't. If you
Yeah.
say everybody off the cliff, they won't go off the cliff. But if you say something to the extent of, okay, we're going to do this, you can now fly, or you can, right? That's the way to go. Follow the leader, right? And they use religion to follow the leader. They lose money. They use all kinds of things. The latest trick is to scare the shit out of people into doing things. Right? The latest thing is to scare the shit out of people into doing things.
Yeah.
I'm into
People react more out of fear than they do out of any other emotion.
and
They get trapped in that fear, and it's like the frog, where, you know, if you throw a frog into boiling water, the frog jumps back out. But if you raise the temperature slowly, the frog will just stay there and cook
until it dies.
Yes.
Until you eat it.
Yeah. So that's what the programming is, and that's what fear is. It's, I don't know any better. I'm stuck in this little tunnel, and it's happening so slowly, and you never see what's coming
Exactly
because
right.
you have these blinders on.
I liked it when Evil Genius said that he's into soil, food web, and vermicomposting. That's exactly what I'm into. I realized a long time ago that the worm juice I get is one of those microbial things that really, really works, heals every plant that I spray it onto, every soil regardless of, I can go any part of the world, it was other than maybe frozen places, you know, maybe in the desert, but the environment that I'm in here now, this forest right here, I could spray this whole forest with this with the worm juice, and the microbes are very happy to deal with everybody else. And we're also going to get there's a company that does the biomine, which is your own personal microbial in your stomach. And
cool.
They study that, and they'll talk about that. And I have another show called The Doctor and the Gardener.
Okay, on your YouTube channel.
You know, I'm on another channel. It's called Talk Shoe. It's actually a YouTube channel, but it's called Talk Shoe. You ever hear Get Smart? We had the shoe where he's talking to.
Oh yeah. I remember Get Smart. I'm not old. Okay, yeah.
Shoe, right. I have that, and also have the refractometer in me.
Okay.
Which is supposed to be, people say it should be the refractometer in I. but I learned that a good doctor. So and I may have this guy on because his name is Arden Anderson. You guys should look him up, Arden Anderson. So he's a famous doctor that decided to become a gardener, a farmer, so then he can take that knowledge back to being a doctor. Dig that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He realized that if you're really good at growing stuff, you're going to be really good at being healthy. And so there's a relationship there. So he studied all the farming techniques and all this kind of stuff, gardening, organic, of course, and how the biology of the soil, all this stuff. And he took that back to the biology of the human body. Because it's identical. The information, the way it works is identical. Yeah. So if you practice increasing your biology, right? The only difference, you know, we have roots. We talk about roots in the soul. We have roots in our body. If you look at the way it works, and these things look like root systems to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, your oh gosh, your veins and that, all the different imagery that people can see of the energy flowing through the human body. It's pulsing like roots, like lightning even, and at that speed too.
I like what Diggity Dank says about worm compost, worm tea.
Okay, let's pull that up. I turned dirt into soil with some worm tea. My mom couldn't get grass to grow. I was like, hold my beer, not literally. Worm tea, a little compost, and some mulch. And 2 weeks later, green grass.
So when they grow grass, there's a place down the road, and these are chemically grown seeds, and then the humus in humans, right? Exactly. These are chemically grown seeds. The root systems don't go down very far. The soil is dead. They want to get it done, get them out to the customers fast because they're not going to last very long. You have to spray them with one chemical or spray them with something else. You know, the same thing with nursery. You go to nursery. I talked to the guy. We got to get this plant in and out of here because we can't. It's going to die on us. Yeah. Whereas if you have a good organic nursery, they'll be there as long as you want to keep them there, as long as you keep the biology active, and as long as you keep it growing. Well,
a tree farm, if you can go to the actual tree farm that's been there for the last 50 or 60 or 80 years, you can buy all different sizes of trees because they just keep them in the soil and keep letting them grow until somebody comes and buys them.
And one of the cool things about trees is that when they die, when they drop and fall, so I learned I would go get, so I walked in the forest one day and this tree had done, and the inside of the tree was this amazing, it was an amazing product inside of the tree that had decomposed. And it was, I knew that it was rich in biology because everything wanted to grow on it. When the chunk had fallen over to the side or something, that there was a little tree growing out right out of it. I'm going to grow right in this shit, right? And so I would make a liquid from that. And I haven't really gotten into the microscope much, but if you was to look under a microscope, you'd see specific biology growing on that tree.
Okay, right? My dogs are barking, so I'm missing half of what you're saying. So sorry, Andy.
I was talking dog language.
Well, I don't know what's going on upstairs. I think Lily is in the kitchen or something, but you know, my boys down here are going, Mom. I think she's giving the girls upstairs treats, and the boys can smell it, and they're going, Mom, bring us treats too. And that's exactly what it is. She just showed up with treats. And
so Silly Lily was saying about they actually cover this in other channels, and it's all about the biology. So you people should take a look at everything else that's going on, because one of the things I like about this is that you have several other different shows, and they all are really, really cool. I really enjoy them really a lot. A lot of people just can't handle it because they realize that they've been doing it all wrong. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, it's not that anybody's been doing it wrong. They just haven't been doing it in the best way they could have. Like I'm restarting my grow, and I'm going to be doing some hydroponics. I'm going to be doing some aeroponics. I'm going to be doing some soil. I'm going to be trying to show different ways that you can grow in a more biological manner to help the plant and have a healthy plant in the different ways that you can grow in. For you, Andy, you're growing in soil. You don't really grow a lot of cannabis anymore. But, you know, when you get out into Malibu and you're looking at those, $1 million, gardens that these people have put together, you're the guy I'd want to call to help me figure out what the hell is going on.
Thank you. I actually, my super seaweed was actually invented for hydroponics.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Because when I was growing the pot plants, I actually had a liquid that I would be misting them. I had it rotating, and they would get the root systems would come by, they get misted, and that's how it. So it was. I don't know. I don't think it's hydroponic because it wasn't exactly. Is hydroponic growing in the water, or is basically just using a misting system? Because it may have been a hydroponics. I don't think it grows in the water because you have to circulate the water.
That's deep water culture is when it grows directly into the water.
Right. So
there's drip systems can be hydroponic. You're just using a drip system, where they're just getting so much water just as a constant flow through the medium.
Right. I did a misting system. So I made my own little misting system that the plants would rotate.
Yeah.
And then I would basically get them. That's one way how I got them to, when I did, I forget the name of it, where you do a cutting from a plant and you start cloning. Yeah. I would clone it, get the root systems to grow. A couple of times I've actually done the plants. They were only about maybe 2 feet tall. They went through the whole plant cycle, one big giant little bud, simply by misting this.
Yeah, that's aeroponics.
Aeroponics. I would just go by and they would come by. the root systems are in the dark, but they have a little misting system. I would make my own little misting system, and that was really cool. But that's the same stuff I use now on spraying everybody else.
Well, and you can use that type of a system. Like I've got a 23 spot system, aeroponic system that I built specifically for cloning, and you can clone almost any type of plant. I first got into that when I was growing tomatoes. I just use it now for cannabis because I know that's the best way to do it. At least it is for me.
Yeah, no, that's right. I've learned that I can do hibiscus. I can do whatever plant I want to clone them, as long as I get the right biology to mix them. Because I learned if you go wrong, the biology goes bad really, really fast. I learned that from experience, and so you can tell by the smell. You go, oh, that don't smell right.
The nose.
That don't smell right. That don't smell right. Something's wrong there. So I've been doing this for a long time. I think the magic number has arrived, guys. So listen, go to my website, check it out. If you haven't done it already, that's
magic number.
Do it. And I have a book that you guys will really, really love because it's all about the biology and the minerals.
Yeah.
It's called Don't Panic, It's Organic, by the way.
And you wrote it, and it's a damn good book, guys. So yeah, you should be checking it out on Andy's channel.
I have to send you a copy. I keep forgetting to do that. You're gonna have to show
a signed one would be nice. Look, I helped John Burfello write his lighting book. Oh, I didn't help him write it, but Lily and I helped him edit it, and it's been out for quite a while. And I only got my signed copy here a little while ago, so I don't feel bad. I don't ever ask. Right, I just don't ever.
My problem has been is I've given the book away to so many different people, and Amazon won't take reviews for them if didn't buy the book.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They said you didn't buy the book, so how can you review it? But it's okay.
Well, then, Andy, just send me the money. I'll buy the book.
Send you the money,
and I'll buy the book, and then I can write a really nice review.
So you can afford $20, man. Come on. Anyway, it's up on my web. The best way to find it is to go to my website. You'll see it in the store, and you'll see the book. You click on it because if you go to Amazon and you try to find my book, you'll find a bunch of other books, and you'll end up buying that instead of mine. Because there are lots of books out there to read and stuff. It's really cool.
Oh yeah,
but you would like it because it's all about the biology and minerals, trace minerals.
Yeah,
too funny.
And laugh out loud. Anyway, guys, we're just over the hour. We're gonna call it here. So I've got I'm not sure who I have tomorrow night with the sun and the moon. We're still waiting for a response.
Next week we have
next week.
Next week, we have a guest next week from the Soil Lab.
Yeah.
Really cool. You'll like this. This is a different kind of soil lab. Most soil labs don't even know about biology. They also include biology in their testing.
Well, they're Elaine Ingham trained in the soil food web. So yeah, you can get soil tests.
Well, they are cool. Great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great. I knew they were really good because I can tell. That's me, right? Thank you, Lily. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here. Enjoy it. See you next week, okay?
Okay,
I'm
with
gonna go
that.
back to sleep.